pull these up. Oh no, not be a slideshow.
That's it?
So slides are up now. So we're gonna have to check the YouTube video and make sure audio is coming through.
Hello there, Stephen. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Stephen? Welcome to my class. How are you all doing today? How are you all doing today?
No, so maybe we'll turn that one down a little bit, just because it was a little loud.
Yeah. Hello.
And then I might have to put that on.
Hello, hello, hello. 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 Wake up, Leah.
Could I get your help for a second? Sure. If you just want to put that on now, and we can shut it off until the presentation starts. But I just want to have you speak in the presentation volume to make sure it's coming through.
Okay. You all set?
You're just going to test the audio levels within that.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Hi. Is it okay?
There's about a 10-second delay.
Oh.
If you just want to try speaking it, like
Okay.
volume.
Okay. Yeah. I think I should move this.
She's good. My parents went to pick her up today, so she has a week. Yeah. She has like a week break.
Yeah. Okay. Hey.
Yeah.
Before he starts. Right now.
stayed up for it. Actually, we were in the same session, we were there, and we talked Teams, and he's talking to somebody over there for his same prospects.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I didn't know that she had a PhD. She has this very corporate southern
Yes.
drawl. She improved.
But we didn't have
But
like.
it's amazing. All right, Tom. Yeah, I'll make a note to myself. He's waiting. Okay. Is it on now?
I just switched it on. Hello?
Yeah. All right. Shall we? Give you a lecture here, but he's also being broadcasted live on YouTube for people who are professionals, IEs, about 100 of them outside in the data region. Just kind of a double dip in, webinar for them and more for you at the class. So I'll give him about 45 minutes to talk and share what he wants to talk about ERP. And just to let you know, there is a course called 4810 Production Service Systems or 6810. Those who have taken that class. We do touch upon ERP there, but it's a flying thing. So I thought I might as well get somebody here who will actually spend some time and tell you more about that. It is what you will experience when you go to industry. That's the massive software and how it plugs into supply chain. So without further ado, Neeraj. And what
Sure.
you could do is, in the interest of time, you can ask clarifying questions in the middle of his presentation, but hold off some more detailed questions at the end. That way we go through the presentation and then you can have an open discussion. Sound like a plan?
Thank you. Thanks, Pratik. So, yeah. So, as you see, my name is Neeraj Naidu Bomasani, and I'm, let's say, Pratik has said, I'll give a lecture, so it's making me nervous a little bit. Okay. So about me, my name is Neeraj Naidu Bomasani, and I'm 42. And my family, I work at Emerson Climate Technologies. My family, I have one wife, 2 kids, so two boys, 14 and 8, and interest, of course, the playing cricket. That's how I got in touch with Dr. Pratik. So that's something, and traveling a little bit, reading, hobbies. Yeah, it's pretty much. So yeah, as Dr. Pratik has already said, you can ask me questions in between. I have no problem. If it is more detailed in nature, you can make a note and then I'll explain it. I'm here even after the session for maybe 10-15 minutes. We can have a one-on-one too. So let me start with Emerson. But before that, I wanted to ask, do you know, raise a hand who know about ERP? Have you heard what is ERP? Okay, only one. I thought you read the flyers. I expected everybody raising hand. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, we'll get into details and how and what is an enterprise resource planning and how it impacts an organization, how the information flow is happening from one module to another module, one process to another process. And when I say module, it's basically, I will refer to, sometimes I'm calling order management, purchasing, manufacturing, or inventory. So these are the modules which handle certain type of activities in them, but they are all integrated. So that's what is an enterprise resource planning. And any transactions when we do, they are all impacting ultimately, when you roll it up, the financials, it goes till financials. So ultimately that's what a business is, right? It's the money part of it. Okay. So as I represent Emerson, I just wanted to briefly go through. I will take 2 minutes. I don't deep dive into the product, but I would give you real-time examples where Emerson products are impacting a common man, and how they are helping, how they are performing the product is for. So I will go through that cycle and underlying the fact that how it is impacting uh, other areas. So commercial and residential is one of the business unit, has multiple products. So not everything is called Emerson. If you see there are like different products, Emerson, Copeland, InSinkErator, all these are Emerson brands. But if you see, why don't we have a single brand called Emerson? This is how the enterprise was, either the companies, the best products were bought over, they were purchased, they were sourced or amalgamated. So those kind of, that's how. But since Emerson is more of it's a, let's say, consumer driven products, the brand name stays with it, so they don't rename it. Or like we were having a discussion this morning at office, why don't we do it? But since the customers know with those brand, Copeland or Emerson or InSinkErator is one of the examples, you know it, right? It's one of the garbage disposal. After you in the kitchen sink, you put the garbage and then you switch it on. Nobody knows what's there inside, but it is. So they know as InSinkErator, but behind it, it's Emerson. Okay, that's one of the examples. Copeland is one of their main compressor brands, and it has a superior technology. It's called Scroll, basically. So that's how I think we can do a plant tour sometime. I was talking to Dr. Pratik about it, and we can show you how the process goes. So we can organize that. So then you will know how exactly. So that's about commercial and residential. You can check more if you want on the emerson.com. It has all the details, listings and everything. The second division is industrial automation. It has, I am mostly associated to commercial and residential, and I know all those products. But since it's a single brand, I may not be able to drive through each of it. But Appleton, I know these are all electrical products, but this is more high-tech industry driven, like large ACs or HVACs in organizations, in factories, those kind of business they cater to. Okay, so what is Emerson? I'm talking only mostly about commercial and residential part of it. What are these numbers? Any guesses? Numbers. Okay, so so overall we have so many brands, but we have 16 ERPs. So but I specialize in Oracle e-business suite, Oracle enterprise applications. But overall, over a period of time, the different brands were bought and different companies were bought, so they have different ERPs. We are still doing it. That's my job. Over the period of 4 or 5 years as an enterprise architect, we need to get every organization into Oracle. So we have Mapix, we have SAP, we have JD Edwards, PeopleSoft, iScala, you name it. There are so many ERPs are available. So we have 85 plus processes which we cater inside the organization. I am going to go through maybe 5 or 7 some of the processes which are again integrating all the other processes. But within the organization, we have 80 plus processes, like the manufacturing cycle, the finance cycle, customer orders, how they are coming, how the suppliers are getting paid. So from end to end. Okay, and 190 plus interfaces, they are talking to each other applications. So since we are integrated, ultimately we boil down to one Emerson corporate. So all the information has to go to the corporate level. So all these ERPs are integrated through interfaces, and we roll it up to Emerson corporate. And 1,000 plus. I mean, to run through the MIS management, the leadership or our management, they look for a lot of reports. They won't do the transactions, but ultimately, from the management perspective, leadership, they look for certain reports on financial numbers, how much sales we did, how much sales orders we booked, what were the payments done. So ultimately, since Emerson is a public company, so we are responsible for the shareholders. So that's about or Emerson footprint. But apart from that, we also have a lot of bolt-ons, which, like the manufacturing, we have certain applications which run specifically for AutoCAD or any designing softwares or anything. There are a lot of other. I don't even have the numbers as of now. I think roughly around 600 odd. And since it's dated, there are these numbers are approximate. There can be a lot of changes. So how we are affecting a common man? First, we'll have a perspective here, and I'll try to explain, and then we will go into the ERP side of it, how it is affecting a common man. Right from, so we have the manufacturing fields. From that's where the producers coming. So this is one example. I'm going to take it. There are different different customer segments which we cater, but I've picked up the the customers where our food is getting produced, how it is getting transported. So we also have solution for we have a ProAct which delivers the cold storage. You have the container which is temperature maintained when they go overseas. So Emerson does it has GPS built in, and what they do is they maintain the temperature overseas when it is going from one country to another country, and they try to maintain the temperature so that the food is not spoiled, or when it has to reach in the shape it does. Then it goes to the storage. They are also they are all like, we have one of the AC does the maintenance of all these distribution centers. They are all cold storage. That's why I'm trying to do this part, since we can relate it. We use these products every day. And we do, again, local distribution. They are also distributed again. And then we have all the cold storages. Then you see these in the supermarket. You might have gone to Kroger, Meijer, or Walmart. Emerson maintains these those units, and they maintain the temperatures. They try to monitor it. If there's any fluctuation, something goes wrong, they come back and fix it. So those are the AC or compressors which we install there. Then finally, even in the refrigerator, you might not see the compressor inside, but if you see 80% of there are scroll and Copeland compressors inside the refrigerators. Then of course, this is the garbage disposal. This is the InSinkErator brand. So, and I was there just yesterday. I came back. We are doing an Oracle implementation there, so I thought, let's do it. Okay. Any questions here? Okay, so let's move on. So what is enterprise resource planning? And I'm specifically, since I'm specialized in doing the e-business suite, my role is more of a functional guy. So if you see functional or technical, there is difference between functional is he does a lot of processes development, and from one process to another process. I will go through that. But if you look at the modules, so this is what I was referring to. So these are the modules which cover. There are many more, but these are the pretty high level, and always you will implement these. So we have the sales and order management, procurement, manufacturing, inventory, fulfillment, the financials. We have the business intelligence, reporting. So we have a lot of OBIE and big data kind of applications, the Hyperion, where we do the slicing and dicing of the information, and the reporting. So we have like thousands of reports I've showed you. So thousands of reports which run in day-to-day life. These also include the kind of when you order online, when you go to the Amazon, when you order, you will get a shipping slip or confirmation, right? So this is what reporting is. There are purchase orders generated, there are sales order confirmations generated, they are sent to the customers. So all that is done in the reporting side. Customer service. So we have online orders like B2C, customer CSRs who get the calls from the customers. They take the orders, they can book online, and Amazon is integrated, and I think you can name it. So most of since they are all consumer driven products, everything is available in Amazon or anywhere you can order it. So they all come to the say order management. When they place it in the web, finally they come here to the sales and order management. That's basically the demand part of it. Once the demand comes in, then what we do is, it is basically based on the requirement date. When is the shipping date, when you can manufacture, when you can send it. So those are the dates are calculated. And then, so manufacturing, how will I manufacture? I do need raw materials, right? So let's say a garbage disposal, I need various components in it to be sourced. Either it has to be sourced, or we there are certain products which are made in-house. We get the steel, and then like the frame and the body of a garbage disposal, that's made in-house. But all the other, like the valves, the other blades and everything, they are all outsourced from the suppliers. They send it to us, and then we assemble it at either in Sydney or Sydney plant, or Sydney is mostly compressors. But if I take example of a garbage disposal, that's in Wisconsin. Okay, so that's what is about the manufacturing. Inventory, like, so anybody can give an example what do I mean by inventory? Chairs, tables. Okay.
Tell you about what you brought if you answer questions.
Oh my God, that is what is missing. Thanks for reminding me. I forgot. So this is what the guy who asks most questions will get it. That's why. Now there's some excitement here. Okay. So this is the Emerson Climate Cap. So you're keeping the count, right, Prati? Okay. So inventory is mostly, it's basically the raw material, right? When you see, so there are so many parts. Let's take example of my projector here. It's not even only this, but it has so many internal build components. There's a light, there's a electrical component and everything. So they are all assembled, right? So we have a bill of material, and there is a certain set of procedures, or we call it routing. So each step has certain operations. So when it goes through the manufacturing cycle, every step has one option to be done. So the shop floor or the operator, they assemble the parts, they do. So each and every step is done. We cannot really do the electrical component and just say it needs the body, it needs the blade, the bulb, everything. And there's a set of processes. So that's called a routing, and that's what it is used in a manufacturing process. And there's a set of reports, again reporting the shop, what is the raw material needed for me to complete this WIP job, or let's say the work in process job. So that's defined, and that's what is there, and what on hand I need. Sure. And it's not only one model. There are different models of garbage disposal. Let's say you have a Badger 1, Badger 9, Badger 500, those kind of things. So each has a different, either a capacity or a load. Because if you go to McDonald's, they will have the bigger one, the industrial ones. So there are different customers, different markets, different need. So based on that, I need the raw materials, and then raw materials I will manufacture, isn't it? Then fulfillment. So fulfillment, once I place the order in my procurement side, my supplier will send the material. Then all these ultimately boil down to either you pay or you receive, right? AR. So receivables, when you sell something to the customer, it comes, he will pay you, isn't it? Not everything is free, isn't it? So you have to pay for that. So it's called AR, receivables. And when you buy from the supplier or the shipper, you have to pay. So it's called payables in ERP language. So that's handled in the financial and asset management. Then business intelligence, I said CRM. Any questions here? I would like to go more in detail. I have more detailed presentations, the flows. So, but for now, any questions? I'm still not breaking the ground. Okay, so we will move on. So this is the order to cash process. So what is an order to cash process? Anybody ordered on Amazon? No? Right? So you place the order, isn't it? So that's what I'm talking about. So when you place an order, what happens? What do you think it will happen? Okay, let's say you ordered, anybody recently any ordered, or let's say bought a cell phone or bought an Apple phone. No? Yes? Or, so let's give a perspective. So Thanksgiving is coming, isn't it? So how does Emerson know that somebody is going to buy? Off the shelf? Or yes, that's absolutely right. So forecasting. So what happens is there's normal trend, isn't it? So we do in the analytics or in the forecast or demand management or demand planning. It's called it's a trend. So it's a trend basically. So we know, oh, Thanksgiving is coming, so there will be a certain need, okay, or certain requirement will be there in the market. So based on that, we produce, so that the stock is available, ship it to the dealers and send it across, and it's ready. It's ready at the point of sale, isn't it? Then only the people, there's some people, it's an impulsive buy. They don't have the need, but they will go and buy, right? So that's how the trend comes, the analytics come, and then the forecasting. So basically they forecast, and then they in upfront on the manufacturing floor, they say that okay, they looks like this is the trend. They will buy 10,000 units during this. So we cannot just produce it in one day. So let's take a compressor. A compressor takes somewhere around since this is a short cycle, still short cycle. I have done implementations where 8 weeks or 5 to 8 weeks is the cycle time for any product to be manufactured. I was doing one project here in Dayton for GE Aviation, my last company. So there it's they produce the the airplane engine parts. So the cycle, all the tube or those parts, the cycle time is between 5 weeks to 8 weeks. So but for compressors, any guesses what would be the manufacturing time for that? Any guess?
1 or 2 days.
You're close. It's 8 hours. Okay. So that's good. So the cycle time, if you see, I'm talking about 8 weeks to 8 hours, right? So I'll go through that process, but so that's how it is. So it's like there's the capacity to produce in Sydney is around 10,000 a day. So the manufacturing line can produce 10,000. That's, I'm talking about one model. but we have like 8 models and 7 production lines, so they can produce around 70,000-80,000 a day. So that's the cycle.
Question: are these the compressors going into a refrigerator, or these are these giant bigger ones?
All put together. So yeah, so that's a good question. Basically, we have since it's a shorter model, we have like 1, 2, I can say like 7 lines, 7 production lines. So each produces a different model because the capacity, the line is different. So I don't recall the brand name, the model, but that I can produce on one only, right? But on 7, I can produce any model. That's how the production line is designed. So yeah, I mean, right from the smallest consumption to the biggest high volume, the business ones. So this is the order to cash process. Now, how, as you everybody know, everybody has somewhere or the other bought stuff or placed an order online, isn't it? So this is how it is done. So there's a credit check. Sometimes we do the credit check on a regular customers, but not like we don't do for every customer, but sometimes he's a regular payer, but then still we need to do the credit check. We do it. The order comes in. Either it can be online order or customer placed order or a dealer order. So dealers also, we have like point of sale contacts or dealers, they all place the orders. Then pick release. So what is a pick release here? So this part is all shipping execution. So what I was talking about, the manufacturing, I'll come to that cycle also, but then that's before this. Let's say I have the product ready here to ship, isn't it? And whatever is the order volume I have produced, I'm ordering, I'm going to book it, and then pick release. Basically, we have a facility here. There are 2 facilities. One is a manufacturing facility, and another one is just used as a distribution or the warehouse. So we manufacture and send it to the distribution warehouse, and from there, the picker or shipper, you can see, he will pick it up based on the sales order and where it has to ship how it does, whether it's an international order, whether it's a domestic order. So there's a variations. So what happens, we also have, since large dealer, since we are catering to the consumer market, we have dealers who are servicing, who are also selling. So different variety of orders we have. But that's Emerson mostly, but I have done products before or implementations before. They're always corporates. So for example, the G aviation part, it's always, there's no individual bias. It's large engines, $1 million or the product worth. This Emerson is, you can say, I'm talking about between hundreds or $300, individual purchases. So they based on that. So it goes to the warehouse, they pick, they ship, and then they are in the in transit. Now once the shipping is done or once the payment is received, it comes to the receivable. So this is, let's say this is receivables is my module, which I was referring to before. So this is where my payment will come, and then there will be the invoice and the revenue collections. So there will be a collection department. If somebody is defaulting, somebody is not paying, so we have department to call and say, find out what's going on. And then once that is received, it goes to the bank reconciliation. All integrated module. I'm not doing any transfer of data manually here. It's going from one module to another module based on configurations, setups. How do I recognize an export customer? How do I B2C customer, who is a one-time buy on the Amazon? So based on that, different setups. So I can do an MIS or information report. How many individual sales I did? How many corporates bought it? How many dealers bought it? How much I did the export? So based on different configurations, you can have processes built. Process flow will be same, but behind the scenes, you are catering to different markets, right? So that's what it is.
quick clarification
Sure.
for both for me and for everybody else. So this is this giant software that sits at a corporate level, and everything works by individual transaction.
Correct.
So a
You're
transaction
right.
could be introduced by me placing an order online, or a worker on the shop floor saying, I'm done with my process, the part now moves to machine number 3. And that would be
Correct.
called a transaction. Is that
That's
right?
exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right. So once I get the order, and then my inventory or my finished good, let me keep it at a higher level. Let's say somebody is already placing a order for a finished good, right? So finished good is ready. It's so the manufacturing guy has assembled, everything is ready, he boxed this, packed everything, and it's ready to be shipped. That's where I would do the pick release, because that's where it's ready to ship, right? If it is not completed, if the manufacturing guy has not completed, I will not be able to ship it, and I will be delinquent. Either I'll be late. I promise my customer to ship it on this day, but I am not able to do it. So all that is tied back together. Any delay in my manufacturing cycle will also delay the shipping cycle, right? So that's what about the order to cash cycle. Any questions here? Okay, let's move on. Then, so procure to pay. Any guesses? So the cycle which I previously did, that was customer driven, right? This is procure to pay, correct? So this is my suppliers. So where I am sourcing all my raw materials from. That is what is my procure to pay cycle. Okay, and Emerson is also pretty big in using since we are globally present, we are also we have demand from the other locations as well. So let's say Middle East or Europe or Asia, we have the different manufacturing facilities there. If there's any shortage, sometimes what they place the order here, and then we internally ship them, and then they send it to the customers. So that's another perspective comes into picture for Emerson, is since sometimes there's a short supply in one of the regions, we can go and ship source it from where I have excess inventory or more inventory or any other orders which can be delayed. Okay, those kind of. So that's another. So that's more intercompany sales is what we may say that between Emerson. So there is a, if you see the Copeland brand, there's a sub-assembly inside which can be used, and they can assemble. The outside structure can be different, but the machine, the motor, since motor is manufactured here in US, so that can be shipped, and they use that motor as a raw material, and then they assemble again in India, or we have a plant in India, we have plant in Europe and Middle East. They assemble there, and then sorry, not Middle East, China, but they assemble and ship it across. So we are doing an internal consumption also, and that's also integrated, and it's we say as internal sales, and we try to see how much revenue did we generate with internal sales also. Okay, that's also comes as a report. So let me go through the procure to pay process. So based on my demand, whatever demand I have for the manufacturing on the manufacturing floor, what I do is I need the raw materials. And my supplier, again, he has also shipping process or the manufacturing process for any of the raw materials. So we need to give him his lead time. So based on those lead time calculations, that I have to start my WIP job today. So let's say, so this is my shipping. Let's say I have to ship this product here, right? So what we do, we need to backtrack. When do I need to start my job, the discrete job? If I have to start it here, then I need to backtrack here so that all the raw material is ready on this day, isn't it? So I have to ship it here because I take 4 weeks of, let's say 10 weeks, or sorry, 10 hours, my manufacturing cycle, but I need all my whip job to be ready here. And let's say I have 40 components to assemble. I will source everything and make sure my supplier sends it to me on this day, because I start my manufacturing here so that I can meet my customer's demand shipping time. So these all calculations is done in inventory. I will have my lead times built in there. I will have my pre-processing lead times, supplier lead times. All the calculations are done at the item master. I will say item master is mostly the parts, where my part level information I can give, which supplier I always buy that part from. It's not, everything is not single supplier. It goes to different, we send from different suppliers. So at the item level, we give all these information so that he sends it on time. And that's, everything is driven based on my demand planning. I think that's the key. And all my lead times are at the item master level. Okay, coming back to supplier. So that I will go deep dive little later. So the supplier will ship, and then he is shipping at, let's say, the Sydney plant. I will do the receiving, or means the shop floor or the warehouse guy will do the receiving. He will transfer. So transfer is basically, we have a manufacturing facility, we have a distribution facility, and I can say transfer is also my internal sales. Then it comes to the shop floor. On the shop floor is what I need, or everything is assembled. Expense, I will pay the guy, right? The supplier, I have to pay him for the sourcing what I did. And the main thing is here, this is the demand. This is the demand side. If I don't have this, then all that is, does it make sense? That I keep manufacturing, but there's no sales? No, right? Correct. So this order entry is my key. Customer. Any questions here?
So this is for Oracle. Now,
So I think he will get the cap. He would have got it. No, that's fine.
It's
Yeah.
intriguing because Oracle is a massive giant. So if Emerson is using that, and let's say Emerson has suppliers in Canada who may be sitting on a different type of a system, like SAP or whatever, homegrown. How do they communicate? I mean, because these are huge transactions that you have to transfer. Is it something which is automatic?
So are you talking about a supplier?
So
or
your supplier's relationships module will connect with their customer relationships module, because now you become their customer. So how the transaction happens electronically? So
there's something called EDI, electronic data interchange. Some large customers will have them, so that we send the data electronically. When I say electronically, means I'm placing the purchase order to him directly. Simple. If you would have seen sometimes on the Amazon, see, Amazon is what? Does it manufacture? No, they don't manufacture. They in turn place an order to the actual manufacturer, and so let's say you are the customer, you are placing the order on Amazon. Is Amazon shipping to you? No. He sends the sales order or his PO to the supplier, and then that supplier is actually shipping to you. Because if you see sometimes the label, you did place it on Amazon, but it says XYZ supplier, the shipping label, or even when you need to return it, you have to ship it to a different location. It's not the Amazon facility, right? So that's how it is. So coming back to the EDI, we place the purchase orders if they're electronically integrated. If not, then there is a manual PO, send it to them manually. But most of the suppliers these days, because time is the essence, right? So if the manual PO, I put it in the post, after 1 week it goes to him, he looks at it and then starts process. That's a little time consuming. So most of them do the EDI now. So we can, and the same thing is this is the supplier side. On the shipping side, there's something called ASN, advanced shipment notifications. So he will send it back to you when he's shipping, and you have physically received, or technically electronically received, all the data when you're going to get the product. Only that it comes after 2 days, and then, but by using this, my receiving process simplifies. And in my receiving process, if I have received it, then inspect. Now, not every product is good enough, so there's an inspection process, right? So when the supplier sends it, we do the inspection. It's not that every part you open it and then inspect it, but a lot-based inspection. Let's say a few products, pull it out and do inspect, and everything is okay, and then deliver it to the warehouse. Good question. Any questions here? And these are all, again, I'm talking about the integrated modules. My PO is integrated. My payable supplier is integrated. When I receive the inventory, the manufacturing guy can see, even he can see when I'm going to receive the purchase, when is the probable date that he can plan his manufacturing. When the PO is placed, he knows when it's going to receive, and once I receive it, he can see the on-hand stock in through the forms or through different form. I mean, I didn't put any e-business screenshot or anything, but he can see the on-hand inventory availability, and then he can plan. So this is what is my integrated modules. That's what is ERP. I can have different places, different modules, disparated systems, but then why I use ERP is for the integration purpose. That's more important, right? Because from one department to another department, everybody is not physically touched, right? They're big facilities, so my system helps it.
So it's basically like one common system wherein all the stakeholders can just get their information and plan their processes accordingly.
Exactly. I mean, on that front, there's an add-on based on the access level. So I'm saying, purchasing guy will have access only to the purchasing side, but a manufacturing guy will have access only to the manufacturing modules. Finance, not everyone will have every access. It's not plain. There are different levels of accesses you can create, and based on his role and responsibility in the company, he will have a specific module and he can access that. Good question. Oh.
What is the basic inspection that have been there after receiving the products? It's like checking the products through any process, any certain process, or it's there is any random process, or it's been like through the way. As you said that we don't check by each product.
Correct.
We can't check it.
Correct.
Then what is there any basic process for checking for inspection, or that is any we use any software, or do we use any computational methods, or do we have any methods like that?
Okay, good question. And all questions asked by one. So the cap, I think I have to give it time. So okay. So there are so based on the part which is coming in, that's decided. That's also ERP is doing it. There can be an electrical component, so it has to go to a quality department to be checked. If there is a based on the parts, it's only physical you can check by see-through. So so there are different parts which have to go through different inspection method. So it depends on the part, to answer in short. So that's how the inspection is done, right? And in case if the product is not good, you can reject and send it back, and then you're not actually billing him, you're not paying him. It goes back. The supplier will again resend the same on the same PO. You need not issue another PO, but same purchase order. He can ship it back, and then again it goes through the inspection process, and you will receive it.
So essentially, this should allow, for example, if somebody's
is interested in running a different type of an inventory model or a different type of an inspection method, if the system allows it, then they can select. Behind it, it does the computational model. So which is what we teach in the class. So we say, okay, here's an EOQ model for inventory or this type of inspection. Those modules which are developed, they get embedded, and you as a user can select which version makes most sense for you. But this then manifests it helps you execute it. If that makes sense.
Correct. I mean, in the inventory also, there are different planning mechanisms, like the Kanban, the minimum order quantity, as you said. I have min-max planning. These are, I mean, you might have read it already in the textbooks, but those kind of planning mechanisms are also available based on my item setup. Sometimes what happens, there are like some nuts and bolts I use for manufacturing on the shop floor. I don't track it so seriously. If I don't, I will never inspect those. They will be all fine. They're like high volume, low cost items. So my inspection process will be more tightened when I have a high value and low volume, right? So that it depends. So I have ABC classifications done, min-max done, Kanban done. All that is available in inventory module. You can plan based according to that. Any questions? The most difficult job is to, now I understand, Friday afternoon, a class session. And keeping everybody awake, Okay, just kidding. Okay, don't take it serious. So inventory process, this is where I wanted to, maybe you can relate. You're still far away to relate yourself with all these processes, but still you can, once you get into a job or do your specializations, you'll get into it. But so the supplier, the transfer, you have seen this receive and deliver, internal shipment. So inventory process, actually inventory is one module, I'll tell you. It's integrated, or every other module touches inventory. In that's one common module. Even if it's not a product, or it's like any other purchases you do or expense, even if you do on the shop floor, like you also do the fixed assets. Sometimes you need to do the capital, the manufacturing system also. You have fixed assets, you can maintain them. Everything touches inventory. And if you do the planned maintenance of the floor of the equipment what you use, you can do that in ERP as well. It's not only there's another module called enterprise asset management that handles all that preventive maintenance of the shop floor equipment, when they are due inspection, when they are due maintenance. All that is also done in ERP. Any questions here?
In the interest of time, about 10 minutes before 4:30.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I think I didn't realize. Okay. Okay. So demand to bill, I think I have covered this process. It's same thing, how my demand process, my forecasting is done. So I will, so it's the same. So requisitions, so again, the modules, the purchasing is there, inventory, order management, cost management, and bills of material, and all these are part of inventory again. How I'm building, what raw material I need when I need to build a compressor, everything is defined in the bill of material. The capacity, I also need to do the capacity planning, because my production line will not do infinite capacity, right? I cannot be producing 24 hours. It has a limited capacity. So that's where the capacity comes into picture. WIP, that's what is the work in process or the manufacturing module is. Any questions here? Okay. So this is something which I thought it's like, you can say every role, every person has one full day in the office. So what does he do? So I picked I don't know, material planner I picked, what does he do in his whole day, right? So he goes and looks at the demand module, or there's another module which does my demand planning. He will go what requisitions he has to raise, what which vendor he has to talk to, and then so that he can place the purchase order. Then he can release the requisitions. He also goes and talks to his manager for approvals. It's just not, sometimes it based on, if there's a buyer, he needs to go through approval process. He just cannot you know create a PO for $20 million and say, okay, send it across. It's not that way. There are some mechanisms, checks and balances done. What level of approval authority he has, his manager has, or his boss has, that all can be built in enterprise resource planning or in this module, and based on that he can do the planning. And sometimes what happens is he looks at the workbench and he sees, oh, some sales orders got canceled, we don't need anything. So he can check that, and then he can put that particular sales order or WIP job to a different customer. Those kind of things he does on the workbench, material workbench. Any questions?
Yeah, they want you to wear the cap.
Financials. I have touched this as well. Like, I'll give you a brief. So receivables, payables. Receivables is my customer, payables is my supplier, and ultimately everything is boiling down to general ledger. General ledger is where my balance sheet is, right? So ultimately, what is my profit and loss? My president will ask. So that's where he will go and look at what was the net balance sheet. Have you heard about balance sheet? Right? You might have heard about debit and credit, right? Correct. Okay, so that's what it is. Finally, this general ledger is the company's debit and credit. Okay. Okay, so those were all mostly on the processes front. I will go through the implementation cycle, how an ERP is implemented, and what are the stages we need to go through to get through those cycle or get through the process. Money, funding, ROI. So of course, you need to have money, and you need, whoever wants it, who is the sponsor, who has the project charter, you'll need to have all the business users. So what we do normally is we will find the key business users from each specific department, and that will get into the implementation team basically, because one guy knows customers, one guy knows suppliers, one guy knows manufacturing, another guy is a finance guy. So that's how a project charter or the team is formed. They make a group, and then that's how, because what happens in an implementation is, now we cannot go to each department and do. ERP is like, since it's integrated, if you do all the modules, you do it together. There are certain cases, financials you can do. We have done it in different places. Financials you can do, but manufacturing and supply chain, you can do it later. Because manufacturing supply chain is most inventory and everything will come. If you look at the finance part of it, you don't need that. So that's why we have done that. We need a project plan. When we go live, there are different phases of project plan. And when my users are taking vacation, so we need to make sure all that is there. New Year, Christmas, and then based on that, you make the project plan. And when are you doing the go live and all the processes. And sometimes what happens, it becomes more critical when you are retiring a mainframe system or any other legacy system that has huge data and volume of data for your future references. Either you convert that into Oracle, or leave that aside and take only the ones which are good. And sometimes over a period of 20-25 years, I've seen in different implementations, there are parts which are already obsolete. You will not move all that to the new system, isn't it? It'll be garbage in, garbage out. So there will be no point. So all that thing is done in the project plan. Then you need to have an implementation partner, the specialized skills, who is doing like the IBM, Oracle, or Infosys or anybody. So you need to find an implementation partner who's fitting your budget. That's one thing. The key is the requirement gathering. This comes into the business area again. So so normally Emerson, what they do is sort of it's called a discovery. So from the before the project starts, we do the discovery and find out what is the actual requirement of the system versus the business, and what processes we are going through, and then we do all the requirement gathering. The project team does the requirement gathering, and they will have coded, marked everything what we need to do at the end of the project. What is my deliverable or the goal? Then instance availability, you need to have the ERP, Oracle ERP instance, of course, right? Then there is something called CRP, conference room pilot. So this is like a sort of a model we prepare for CRP, a smaller version. When the project is being implemented, we do the CRP, and it's like, okay, small processes, take it, the users start testing it. Then we go to the next phase called SIT, systems integration testing. That's where we test all the EDIs, when data is going out, what report is coming in, those kind of things we do in the SIT. Then we have the user acceptance test. It's like a full-blown user acceptance test. Your implementation team plus the business team will be together sitting in one big room and testing all the processes are working correctly or not. Data is being sent, interfaces, reports, everything. Your labels, your picking, packing slips, everything are done or not. That's done in the user acceptance test. Cutover. Normally, I gave an example of a legacy or a mainframe system where you need to take all the data and dump it to the Oracle instance. That's where you do of course, you do it in the different these stages also, but this will be my main instance where all the transactions will happen. Then finally, go live, and that's where the system is live and everybody starts using it after go live. And support and stability. So what happens, since every time there's a new system, there are some hiccups. People are not able to key in, they are not used to the forms and screens, so they will make mistakes. So you need to handhold with them to give them support. And since it's a new system, after a couple of months, you need to give it stability and sustain it. Any questions here? Yes.
Now, I just have a question about implementing the ERPs right from scratch. Now, suppose I have a fresh startup. I mean, I'm starting things totally new. Like, how does the data collection take place? I mean, is it done based on other references, or because this is totally new? It doesn't have something in the preceding.
Exactly.
So how do we start from there?
Good question. So as I said, so at least you will have some business process where you need I can understand you don't have any legacy system where you need to pull out data and so what happens, Oracle ERP, there are some standard built-in data is available. So normally what happens is everybody has their own, like I have like iPhone 4S or 6S, right? So that's my item number. I can't change it, isn't it? So that's when I try to go and order, I will go look for a certain product with certain item combination, right? So that's the key. So if you don't have any legacy data, but you need to start using it, there's some like beta data available in ERPs, which you can use it. So that way you can use, but I have not seen those kind of implementations. Everybody, if a company is doing an ERP, they already have tons of data to transfer, and they try to transfer all the inventory first, and then do other collections.
So,
yes.
We're almost getting out of time, but I thought I'll share one thing. RightState is implementing their own version since last 6 months. They call it Salesforce.
Salesforce, yeah.
It's one kind of mini version of it for all admissions. So some of you who are freshmen, a couple of you might have actually been the first few cases on Salesforce, or you might have uploaded. But at least from now on, everything, international and domestic students will upload their entire application with everything, and there will be an electronic message and confirmation and everything flowing back to you. That would really smoothen the process, because from then on, each department will get it electronically. So that's the kind of semi-ERP package that writes everything. And we are going through the exact go live, and we had issues.
Right.
And so they are fixing it. They were fixing it over summer, and they're still fixing it. Because when you move to a new system, there are glitches and anticipated. So I mean, I'm sure you have something else to tell, but this is just to tell you guys, we are doing it as right. And it's everywhere, not just in supply chain, but in educational institutions and everywhere else.
Okay, so this is a bit of cycles. It's not that everybody uses them. There are some changes in cycle or this one, but these are high level projects go through this. So failures. So of course there will be failures, and why will you have a failure? Because you're doing it, right? So that's one. No clear requirement definitions. I've seen this happening. The processes are missed. They don't have the requirement gathering done properly. Then that's one of the key to fail. A good plan, a project plan is very, very important. Part-time project management, you need to have good leaders or who are managing the project. That's pretty important. And underestimating the resource need. I mean, if you really, to one or two people you want to do an ERP implementation, it's not possible. Each and every area like finance, financials, procurement, inventory, everybody has their own consultant, and he will do it. Too many customizations is also a disaster. Try to use standard, or there's Oracle standard processes available. You can use it. If you try to customize it, I mean, you're calling for a disaster. Training is the very, very key important. Because users have to be trained in the project cycle. You need to give a fair amount of time for the user training. Testing, the business user testing. If they don't do correct testing, proper testing, good test scripts, that's again a disaster. Not enough user training, again, it's the same thing. If the user training is not sufficient, ultimately they have to use that application day in, day out, right? So those are the things which can fail. I know I don't have much time here, I guess, but I wanted to give you a little perspective why we do this. Or, I mean, we have gone through the phases of industrial revolution, but where the 1960, 1980 was where the Ford started using the conveyor belt. Those kind of things that was pretty important. Technical revolution, you got a lot of IT kind of things during that time. Then the globalization and everything came in the phase 3. But the current intent is what they're stating is 4.0, which is going to be the IIoT or cloud implementations. Most of everybody's talking about cloud. Oracle is going cloud. SAP is going cloud. So everyone is going cloud. And then industrial Internet of Things. That's what is the key next. So I think this is more important. And I wanted to spare more time here. Of it, I'm not. But by 2020, this is what they're assuming every device will be Internet enabled. Sensors, instruments, materials, mobiles, and fixed assets, everything is going to be on the Internet. The integration, the talking, everything will be done. And on our shop floor also, we have a robot which does all the packing. So it has a giant arm. It's programmed in such a way that each box, even if it is different, it does this and it palletizes actually. So those kind of things as what we are stating.
All right, very good. Let's thank you first. Any questions? I have somebody with 3 and